Say that you're leaving, thin as a shadow. Don't walk away, don't walk away. There's still waters to travel. Planted a garden, filled it with flowers. We dug a hole, we dug a hole. Now we're praying for showers. Went for a short walk.
Maya Solovey, Bussy Bob sur PUREchannel. Thank you very much, guys, for coming and
Thank you so much
for welcoming us in your apartment. It's a very nice place. You've been playing an acoustic session that will be on PUREchannel too. And now it's the part we're going to talk about the music and the record. My first question is how to pronounce the name of the record. That is a very beautiful graphic idea, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's everywhere.
No, we just say one and two. Yeah.
So for the record, 1, 2, Maya Solovey. The first question is for you, Maya. Where do you come from? Because on the record there are many Portuguese songs, Spanish songs, English writing, of course, also. And you've just made a cover in French, so it means you...
It's quite a lot of languages, it's true. I'm American. I was born in the States, and my grandmother is from Latvia, and the others are from Russia, so I'm Russian Jewish by heritage, just like Serge Gainsbourg, actually, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I grew up in the States, but I did live in Ecuador and Spain, and that's where I picked up the Spanish, which we didn't do tonight, but normally we do. And then the Portuguese, I fell in love with a Jorge Gilberto record, and so I had to learn.
So you learned it. And now,
I learned Portuguese.
Where do you live, write, and record your music? Is it in New York?
We both live in New York, yes.
How did you met, and how did you started working together?
We both, so it was about almost 5 years ago now. I had an assistant working for me because I'm an independent artist. So I had an assistant, and she became friends with his assistant at the time, and he came to my show, and then he started talking to him about me, and they thought that we should meet because perhaps we had some musical kinship together.
Musical love at first sight when you met?
I would say so, yeah. It was pretty immediate. I mean, he heard my voice, I heard how he recorded my voice, and we were done. I
was wondering, how do you pick up when you're going to write a song, say, this feeling will be well expressed in Portuguese?
Exactly. It's exactly that. Some songs, some melodies to me, or some sentiments feel better expressed in certain languages than others. And for some melodies that I was writing some years ago, and still now, I felt like I was writing songs that I heard them in Portuguese, even though I didn't speak Portuguese quite yet. I did speak Spanish at the time, but I just felt that they needed to be expressed in Portuguese, so I needed to learn. And I've been writing more and more in English lately. This record comprises a sort of a period in my life, and but I feel like, I don't know, I'm going to start learning French soon, so maybe songs will come to me in French.
So when you write in Portuguese or Spanish, you have no vocabulary limits to express your feeling? Is it always...
I write with a dictionary, I admit it, I write like a foreigner, because I am to that language. I know the grammar differences. Of course I don't write terrible grammar, but but you can get away with different things in different lingual contexts, right? So the Romance languages, you can say things that in English would be completely melodramatic. It would sound so over the top, but because it's the context of both the grammar and the culture and the sentiments, you can express different things. I feel like when you write in English, things are better expressed like turns of phrases, or character development, or conversation, or things that are a bit more tangible. And I feel that when I write in the Latin languages, it's a bit more emotional, a lot more imagery, it's a bit more, not as defined per se, shall we say.
There's a question for you, Bob. How did you record and produce, although you did it together, the very intimate environment that there is on that record? And I think there's a switch. The two first songs are very poppy, I'd like to say, and it's produced with the backing vocals, very melodic, and but then it goes to a very intimate moment and suite of tracks that are very soft.
That was Maya's vision from the beginning, and for me as a producer, I have always focused on the vocal, regardless of who I was working with, whether it was a band or an individual male or female singer. The vocal, I think, is always the most important part, but particularly for this first record that we're talking about right now, we really started with Maya in the studio with her guitar on one microphone, very intimate, sometimes 1-2 take performances, and then we developed the orchestration around the voice. The voice was always the focus, on that.
1-2 take, is it? Why is the name of the record?
Well, it's interesting because it's a funny story. I was the second day after we met, we decided almost immediately to work together. The second day I asked her to come back to the studio to record just some demos so we could get a feeling for how we would proceed with the record. And Regina Spektor was in my studio the same day in the back. And she was having some technical difficulties, and as the owner of the studio, I had to go back and babysit the session, make sure that everything was cool. So I said to Maya, who I just met, listen, why don't you just put some songs down? I just hit record on the Pro Tools, and I left the room. And I thought I would be back in 5 minutes, but I was gone for 2 hours, And she was just in the room by herself. There was nobody in the control room, just the tape running. And once I got Regina sorted out, I came back to the front room, and Maya had played down 13 songs, basically front to back. She had played down all of the songs that she was considering for the album, like just one after the other, first takes. And for the rest of the evening, we sat and we listened to the playback, and I just thought it was so extraordinary. There was something so special and immediate about these performances that was basically how we started the record.
The last question is for you, Bob. You've been working, because I want French audience to know what's really good and beautiful and sensitive on that record. You've been working with a lot of people. I'm not going to mention all, but even Bob Dylan and people as different as Christina Aguilera and many artists. Why do you think Maya has something very special in the emotion? Sometimes it's modern fado, sometimes it's folk music, sometimes it's pop and crazy arrangement with the backing vocals we've been talking about. What is it that seduced you?
It is her voice that initially seduced me and still seduces me. I mean, the funny part of the story is that my assistant, Jonathan, who was friends with her assistant, was telling me for months, this girl, Maya, she is singing folk music, is so beautiful. And I was just like, because I'm a pop producer, So I was saying to John, don't bother me with this shit. Please just stop bothering me about this Maya girl. And thank God, he was persistent. For 6 months, he bothered me about her, and eventually convinced me to meet her on a Saturday, that I was finishing up another record. And I didn't have much expectation, to be honest. I was just doing it out of obligation to John because he was harassing me so much. And honestly, she came in and she had a CD of songs that she was working on, and I didn't want to hear the CD. I wanted to hear her sing, So I said, please, just go in the studio, take your guitar, set up on the microphone, and let's record a song or two and have a listen. And, really, the second that I heard Maya's voice, the hair stood up on the back of my neck, very much like first time I heard Chaka Khan or the first time I heard Christina or many other female vocalists that have that kind of special quality that just makes your bumps rise, I don't always intellectualize music. For me, music is a very visceral thing. I feel it in my body and I feel it in my spirit, And there was just something very special about Maya's voice. And I'm very attached as a mixer, as a producer, to the voice, to the sound of. And her voice was just something very special. And, I didn't really think twice about it. Literally within 15 minutes of hearing her, I was like, how can we work together? And now I'm managing her and supporting her as a bass player, so it's come a long way.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you very much, Maya.
Thank you so much, Guillaume.
And yeah, the acoustic versions are also on PUREchannel. It was a very good pleasure. Go see Maya.
Merci beaucoup. It was a great
Merci,
pleasure.
c'est un plaisir.